Excellent. All right. So, nail resin systems. Y'all can see on my slides up there. Good, right? Okay. So, what is a nail resin system? Let's talk about that word in and of itself, because in the chapter, the book, the chapter's called Nail Resin Systems. Have y'all ever heard of a nail resin system?
No, heard of resin though.
You know what resin is. What is resin?
It's, to me, like a acrylic or a plastic that people use to make stuff out.
Okay, right. You see, especially on TikTok, these people that are pouring that resin into these molds and molding and pulling it out, and it's clear. It's just, and they can encapsulate or stick things inside of these. I've seen some beautiful like coasters, and I think I saw somebody make like a weed tray one time. Like, it was so cool. And I think that's a fun little hobby that I may want to get into. But those resin systems, they have to cure overnight, things like that. Okay. And let me just be honest with you. What they're using, it's an adhesive. It is literally, that's why you want to wear gloves. You don't want it sticking. If you poured that any old where, it would stick like a super glue. Okay, so what is a resin system? Well, in the nail industry, when we refer to resin, we're going to be talking about glue. And when I say glue, a lot of people are going to say, well, so the dip nail resin, is that the same as as nail glue? Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Remember, I've told you guys that there's so many different marketing techniques out there, right? So you've got for instance, blooming gel. What is blooming gel? It's top coat. It's top coat. Very thin viscosity top coat. But they put it in a bottle and call it blooming gel and sell it to you for double the price because it's special. Hey, I ain't mad at them. I plan to do the same exact thing.
You should.
And I will. But when you're educated on what these products are and how they work, it's gonna make you like me personally. There's certain things you can't convince me to buy. I'm just not gonna do it. The other day when we went to the nail supply, and they gave me all this dip powder and stuff. They said, here, we want to give this to you. And you guys today, when you guys get ready to try with a color, I'm going to try this with a color. They gave me this, right? And then they gave me this magic ombre gel, right? So when she put it in the light, I said, ooh, it's matte. She said, oh, well, you can use it as matte top coat. I said, so it basically is matte top coat, right? She was like, well, no, it's matte. Girl, you ain't telling me, you're not finna convince me. So it can double as a matte top coat. So basically, if I use matte top coat from any brand and cure it for only 10 seconds rather than the full 30, I can get the same ombre effect. How do I know that? Because Bo, one of my favorite nail artists, he sells his matte top coat, right? His matte top coat, matte. He'll tell you all you got to do is cure it for 10 seconds, and then you can put pigment into it, and it will stick, and then you cure it the other 20 seconds, and now it's stuck there. Matte top coat, magic ombre gel. Guess what? They the same, but let's not get too deep into that conversation. All right. So nail resin systems are basically your dip nail systems, okay? Have you guys, anybody know of any dip nail product lines out there? How about S&S? So this is what the clients are going to say. They're going to say to you, do you do S&S? Right. Well, first of all, what if you have Kiara Sky? Or what if you have Nitro, which is the brand that that gave me this powder a couple weekends ago. What is S&S?
It's a brand, right?
It's a brand, okay? That's like saying, do you wear Adidas? It's like, no, I don't wear Adidas, I wear Nike. But the question they're really asking is, do you wear shoes? Right? So you guys need to understand and be able to recognize these systems when you see them, because at one point S&S was like the only one out there when it first came out. And let me just tell you, they were not the first. They were not the first. Anybody ever heard of a little nail company called Back Scratchers?
Yeah.
You have? Oh, okay. So I said something about it. But before that, have you ever heard of it? So back in the early 2000s, when I went to nail school, I went to my first nail show, which was in Atlanta. My nail teacher took me on a field trip, me and my classmate, because there was only two of us, on a nail trip, a field trip to a nail show. And at the nail show, they have vendors there, and they're usually selling their product as well as teaching how to use it, which is so much fun. I mean, you get to go from room to room, you pick which ones you want, and they do the class every 30 minutes, every hour, right? And you drop in and you learn how to use the product. And then, of course, they sell it to you. Well, Back Scratchers, which, the cutest name ever, right? For nails, for a nail company. Back Scratchers was the first time I ever saw a dip nail system. And this was 20 years ago. This was in 2005. Okay. So when I went in there, I remember them taking the powder and they were putting the resin glue, brushing it on, and then you dipped the powder, your finger into the powder. Here was the problem with Back Scratchers and why they didn't really blow up and everybody buy the stuff and like it is now. They only had 3 colors: pink, white, and clear. Nowadays, I mean, you got literally, this is just the spring collection. And of course, they gave me the spring collection because spring is over. This is just the spring collection of the Nitro dip brand, right? This is all their spring colors. So they have probably 1,000 colors. And so they didn't have the variety that these companies 20 years later now have. So they're probably somewhere, instead of scratching their backs, they're scratching their head going, why did we not blow up like S&S? Colors, options. Clients like to have options, all right? So when you are thinking about S&S, when clients ask for S&S, what they're really asking for is a dip powder system or a resin system. Now, I don't like using resin. And why do you think I don't like using resin versus something else to build the nail with? Why would you think? Well, resin is glue, right? So how does glue dry? By air. Right. So you have to move quick. Remember yesterday when I was doing the poly gel nails? How I could have sat there and just played with it all day? What's another product that we can do that with? Heck no. Acrylic dries. You got seconds to mess with acrylic.
That we can take our time with?
Yeah.
I guess because you use polygel.
Right.
Gel-X.
Gel. How about just gel in general? Gel does not cure until you put it in the light. So when you can actually do this exact same product, use this same product, but using UV gel or LED gel to pour it. Oh, now you can't dip it. Can't dip it at all, because if you dip that wet gel, it's just going to make a mess, right? But with resin, you have very little time. You have to do one finger at a time. We're talking brush it, dip it immediately, because if it dries in the air, once the air hits it, it starts to dry. You may have I don't like this. You may have a part of the nail that is not it dried before the other part, and now it's uneven. I don't really like having to. I like to lay my acrylic like I don't have a what?
Hold on. Lay up here like you don't have a timer. A file.
Bam, a file. So if I have to sit up here and lay another layer to make it even and all that, and that's the thing about dip systems. If you don't have a nice smooth nail to lay that resin or that glue on, if you have a bump, what's going to happen is as you're building it, the bump gets higher, and it's just a mountain in that spot. So laying dip acrylic for me with resin is kind of annoying. I like to use gel. Okay, but today we're going to talk about resin. All right, because that is how everybody does it. Now, you guys learned how to do manicures, and the reason why we learned manicures first, why y'all? It's the basis for every service that we do. Okay, so when you guys are doing these dip nails and you're doing them on natural nails, you must do a what first? Manicure. Now, does it have to be a wet manicure, soaking the nails and all that stuff? No, does not have to be. It can be a dry manicure. All right. But remember, we do dry manicures on clients that's been coming to us, and their cuticles aren't all, their PNFs aren't all crusty, and if they're all crusty and dry, you may have to do an actual manicure on them, right? But you definitely learned how to polish. And why do you think it was so important that you guys learned how to polish? Because I know y'all was like, Miss Mary, why are we using this lacquer? Why are we using this polish? Nobody uses polish anymore. Why do you think I was so big on you guys using? Don't touch that gel. Leave it alone. Gel is easy. Gel is easy. You can wipe it off, put it back on. You can wait. If you mess it up, you can just take it off and try again. You can work with it and put it in the light when you're ready. Why do you think you learned how to polish, and why it was so important that you guys learned how to polish? Because the air dries. And if you can master that and lay it smooth and lay it without touching the skin, because you do not want to get this resin on the skin and build up some acrylic powder on the skin, right? If you can polish with regular polish, then dip nails going to be easy for you. It's going to be easy. You should have no problem. Like, y'all should get, that's why y'all think this chapter is literally, 4 pages long. It's 4 pages long. This is easy. There's nothing to this. There's nothing to this. So this is the problem that I have with these nail technicians out here in these NSS salons, and y'all know what I'm talking about. They charge, how much does a dip set cost, y'all?
Too much. Like $40.
I mean, I ain't been in a nail salon in years.
$40, $45.
$45. Now let's talk about what dip nails actually are. What did I just say this was? This is the reason why this is called duo resin. I should have called it quadruple resin or sextuplet resin or something or whatever. Because you can use this for so many different things, because at the end of the day, what is it? It's a glue. We can use it to glue our tips. It's a brush on glue. We can use it to do dip. We can use it as a base for our dip. We can use it as a top for our dip. I use this to adhere my stones, right? So it's just a glue. So now let's move forward. What is this? Dip powder, right? But what is it? Acrylic. It is acrylic. It is the same acrylic that we can use for laying our tips with acrylic, sculpting with, making acrylic flowers, 3D flower. It is acrylic, okay? So I ask you again, why are they charging $45, $55, $65 for dip acrylic that a child could do it? If you can polish and dip the finger in there, do it again, dip it in. What's the skill behind that outside of the fact that you can polish? There's no skill involved. I mean, I when people ask me how do I feel about dip, I feel I'm about to make somebody mad. I'm sorry. I'm about to make somebody mad. It's for lazy nail techs.
I personally don't offer it.
I'm not offering it. I don't offer it because I slap that acrylic on much quicker than I will sprinkling it and messing with my powder, putting your finger all in my powder. No. Right? And someone said here they're capitalizing on a trend. Absolutely. An old one. A trend that came out 20 years ago that is now resurfacing. Of course, you guys are the new generation of nail technicians. All you guys are doing is reinventing the wheel. Okay? You're reinventing it, you're making it better, and I love that. I love that. But at the end of the day, I'm an old nail tech, right? An old lady, as I've been called when people try to offend me. That don't offend me at all. That lets me know I've made it. I'm here. I have arrived, right? But for me, I see it for what it is, right? So if you can polish nails, and you guys do some beautiful polish. If you can polish nails, then you can do this. This is not, we're not going to spend all week on this. Y'all going to learn it today, and then once we're done with this book, y'all got to, when the new students start next week, y'all going to be up here doing all these services like Brandy back there, how she just gets her stuff done and just doing it. That's what y'all going to be doing because there ain't nothing left for you guys to learn, right? We still got a few more things that I'm going to squeeze in there, but at the end of the day, this is, y'all got to do, I think, what, 20 of these, 30 of them? I can't remember. It's under nail wrapping. 20, right? So, it's exactly the same. Now, let's move on as far as my class material today. So, today what we're going to learn, I'm going to explain to you about resin systems. We're going to talk about nail resin, what it is, how to identify it when you see it in the nail supply, and knowing what you're buying, because they can put whatever they want on that label. They can put whatever they want on that label. You need to be able to read those ingredients and know exactly what it is, okay? We're going to talk about nail wraps, all right? And this is an old school technique, nail wrapping, that I still use to this day when I need to, okay? We're also going to talk about the advantages of dip systems and the disadvantages, okay? So why do you think you should learn about nail resin systems? Why do you think you need to learn about it?
To be with a client, or just to, like for your own health and protection, just to know what's going on? Because you never know who will ask for what, so you can educate those who come.
Right, you need to be a well-rounded nail tech. My students, I don't never want my students when someone walks up to you and say, hey, do you know how to do? Yes, I do. I don't offer that service, and here's the reasons why. Or another reason you need to learn this is because this is the trend right now. Everybody is offering dip nails, and I'm gonna just tell you right now, never leave money on the table now. Because when you buy it, and I highly recommend buying these 3-in-1s. And when I say 3-in-1s, they come with this, the lacquer and matching lacquer and the matching powder and the matching gel. Okay? Why do you think I suggest you buy all 3 of these?
One is lacquer.
The lacquer is for toes, or for the older ladies that just want, that ain't really moved on to gel yet, right, on their hands. Then you've got the gel polish. Of course, gel polish is, everybody wants gel polish, but they match. Because me personally, I mean, don't ask me right now, which I'm good because I got red on the bottom of my, but my toenails are still red from the gel polish that I've had on for like 3 sets now. Okay, so I want my stuff to match. Usually people do, but then why would I want a matching powder?
Just for that undercoat.
So you got the dip, people that want dip, right? But then you also have colored acrylic nails or encapsulated nails, right? You Might want to have the matching powder if you want to do a set of tips or build out or sculpt some nails with the same color. Like, you have options. And these right now, Mr. Johnny, when you buy he's got the 3-in-1s. I think the cheapest one we saw, you could buy all 3 for like $13. And that's with your license discount or your instructor or student discount, right? So I highly recommend when you're purchasing these, because there's really no need for you to go like back in the day when I was doing have my colored acrylics, when I would buy them and stuff, you know, you're going and you're buying, oh, we got this little color here, and then you were like, oh, I don't have a red, I need to go get a green, and like, you know, just buy the matching stuff so everything kind of matches. And of course there's reasons why you may want a glow in the dark yellow or something, you know, your specialty colors. But when I tell y'all I have a drawer full of stuff over here, this has cost me thousands and thousands of dollars to collect over the years. You don't really use it that much, all right? So but it depends on what you're doing. If you're a nail technician that does a lot of encapsulated nails, I know nail techs that don't even have gel polish because they encapsulate everything. They're doing their colored acrylic nails and capping it with clear and doing designs. And one of my favorite nails by Kiki, she does a lot of no polish nails. Like, she's not using polish at all. She's putting a lot of nail art in there and stuff like that. Now, she has it. I know she has it. But if that's your zhuzh, you know what I'm saying? Do what suits you. You specialize in a certain thing. But this is like the most cost effective to buy those 3-in-1s, okay? So, why do you need to learn nail resin systems? Another reason why you would want to learn it is, especially when it comes to wrapping. And I'm about to show y'all this, and I want to know what you think about it. Why would we use this in nails? Have you ever seen silk?
For injured nails?
Huh? For injured nails? Or what do you mean, like a broken nail?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but why would you, what do you need? This is literally Chinese silk. This is what they say. They got it on it says Chinese silk. It's probably Americanese silk or straight from the fabric store. But why would you need this?
It's so soft looking.
Well, think about your natural nails, because you have those natural nail clients, right? Because when I soak these off, I at some point, I'd like to have my natural nails and have them nice and strong, right? And a lot of times they're not strong enough to withstand just getting in the shower and out once they get wet, or going in washing dishes and stuff like that. So back in the day, for acrylic nails and remember the history of nails, remember the Juliet wrap? Do y'all remember that from the history of nails? Well, the Juliet wrap, when they talked about that, was simply using a piece of silk fabric to strengthen the nail, and guess what they used to adhere it with? Just regular schmegula. And the kind of glue they used was those model car glue. Okay, when they would make model cars. All right. So, as far as this is concerned, I'm gonna show you guys, a little example of that. But it's not used a lot. But what if you get that client who they have beautiful, long, pretty nails, and they say, I'm allergic to acrylic. I'm allergic to gel. I can't, but I want you to repair my crack in my nail because I want to save my nail. This is how you're going to do it. Now, you can order this stuff off of Amazon. It's just like China silk wrap, right? And it comes, and this is enough to last you a billion years, because you literally have to cut a piece big enough to fit just a little patch. It's like patching the nail. And back in the day, they had this as a service before acrylic nails to strengthen the nail. And you would just lay this on top of the nail, natural nail, so that those nails, when they got wet or when you took a shower or whatever, whenever they got moist, they didn't break on you. Okay? And then you covered it with lacquer, red, pink, whatever, French tip, because this is so sheer and so thin. Once you apply the glue, you can't even see it. It's invisible. Okay? Another thing that we use in nail wrapping that is very old school, but you can purchase this at Sally's, okay? And that's where I got these because I couldn't find it nowhere else. But this is called fiberglass, and it's on a sticky back, okay? When you peel this back, when you peel it back, it is very, very thin. Let me peel a piece back for you guys. You see it? Y'all know them fiberglass, that carbon fiber look that be on cars and stuff like that? It has that cross hatch kind of fiber look to it. It is, and fiber, it's literally just like a linen, right? But it is called fiberglass, and I'm sure it's made out of some like little, very tiny, little thin, fine shreds of glass. Who knows what it's made out of, but it's called fiberglass. Same thing, but that has a sticky back on it to make it easier for you to apply it to the nail. This, you gotta lay the glue, lay the fabric in the glue and make sure it's in the spot that you want, right? This, you can actually lay it on the nail and then put the glue on top. Okay, so there's techniques to it, and there's reasons why you may want to use it. Okay, some people are allergic to some of our chemicals and some of our products. I've just heard someone just ask me this right now. What do I do if I'm allergic to acrylic or if I'm allergic to gel? Does that mean you can't have nice nail extensions? Because I can extend a nail using this. Because once you put the glue on it, it gets hard, right? So you can think about how thin your natural nails are when they grow out. Consider that the thickness of them compared to acrylic or a tip. Are your nails as thick as a tip? Heck no, not mine. Now, there's some people out there, but mine definitely are thin as paper. Right? Now they're strong, but they're thin as paper. So if you have someone that really wants to, because I done seen some fiberglass nails that you couldn't tell that they're natural nail because they were so thin but so strong. Okay? So there are techniques. Once you learn these techniques, it will help you do nail art and do certain things. Nail art, repairs, work with clients that maybe no one else can. Imagine if you're the only chick in town that knows how. All those nails clients that are allergic to acrylic or gel are like, go to the fiberglass Queen Jasmine. She's got you. Learn techniques that nobody else is doing. I promise you, you will make more money than anybody else. And this is one of those things. This is an old dying art. People don't do this anymore, and it is an art, okay? What we do is art, period. That's why I don't call myself a nail technician. I'm a nail artiste, okay? Because I'm building and sculpting and creating things from nothing, all right? So now, though, we have the color dip systems. They're very popular. You guys need to learn them. And a lot of people who get their nails done with dip, sometimes it's for a special occasion like a wedding, because they're so easy to remove. What is it? Remember what it is. It's glue. So how easy is it to remove? So easy. Takes 2 seconds. And that's why I be tripping when they're like $65 for a dip. So somebody told me they paid $60 for some dip nails. I said, well, who did it? The person who invented it? The nail god themselves? Who did that? $60 for some powdered acrylic sprinkled on your nail? Okay, I mean, hey, people would say that I'm too expensive for what I do, right? At the end of the day, do what makes you happy, okay? Now, let's talk about the definitions or words that you're gonna see in nail resin systems, dip nails, okay? What is a nail resin? What does it mean when we talk about nail resins, okay? What are they made out of? Okay, so the word that you guys are trying to say is cyanacrylate. Cyanacrylate. Now, cyanacrylate is literally the main ingredient, if not the only one, for nail glue. Now, what I want you guys to understand when we talk about the chemistry of nails and what the chemistry of nails, what is the chemistry of nails and how all these things work together. when you look at the ingredients of any acrylic system, any gel system, any glue, right? What you're gonna see is the word that pops up a lot, and it's gonna be acrylates. Acrylates. What is an acrylate? Anybody know? It's where the word acrylic comes from, right? But an acrylate is a plastic, okay? An acrylate is a plastic, and when you take a cyanacrylate and an acrylic powder, a gel that is an acrylate, and put them all together, they can come together and work together because they're basically essentially all the same thing, okay? People ask me all the time, or they'll say, I'm allergic to gel. I'm allergic to gel. I can't do gel. Well, guess what, baby? Guess what you're allergic to too? Acrylic. Guess what else you're allergic to? Nail glue. See what I'm saying? You got a sensitivity to it, and more than likely you have a sensitivity to it because of who? Your nail tech. Oh, Lord. Your nail tech. Why? Because they're doing this with their brush, cleaning up all around your cuticle area, rubbing all that chemical on your skin, getting the polish all over your nail and leaving it there. It's your nail tech's fault. So I would go to her, tell her, ask her why you can't wear gel nails. You probably don't know the answer, right? So cyanacrylates are, when you see that word on the ingredients of any glue, just know that they're all the same. And I need you guys to understand what I mean by that. Okay, so here's what's about to blow your mind. Gorilla glue. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Gorilla glue. You've seen it, right? You've seen Gorilla glue, right? What is it? Because y'all gonna say to me, that's super glue.
I was about to say a strong glue.
Is it strong? Is it stronger than nail glue?
No.
It's all the same in its chemical makeup, okay? They're all cyanacrylates. If anybody has a bottle of Gorilla Glue, and I know some of y'all do because your favorite nail techs are giving it to you in their boot camp classes or selling it to you or whatever the case may be by squeezing it into a bottle of resin or whatever the case may be. It's all the same. It is a cyanacrylate. Let me tell you what the difference is. What is the difference? Battery about to go dead on the laptop. What is the difference between one cyanacrylate and another? The word viscosity comes to mind. Okay? And what is viscosity? Right. It refers to the thickness of the liquid. Okay? So, anybody ever used, like, let's see, what's the name? It's called Mach 5. It's by OPI. Mach 5. It is a very, very, I'm talking about soon as you put it on the nail, it dries. What is the, if anyone has never used it, it's in a nail bottle, it's in a bottle. It's a nail glue, right? It is so, it's like water. It's like water. When it comes out of that bottle, you better be ready. You better be ready. As soon as you put it on that nail, it is, boom, dry. But then you have nail glues like Bondini. Have y'all ever heard of Bondini? Okay. Bondini is in a bottle. You can get it in different viscosities. But Bondini, it gives you a little bit more time to work with it. And it is just a little bit thicker. The viscosity is different. Okay? So when you think about building resins, and when I talk about building resins, we're talking about resins that you use when you're doing dip nails, okay? They sell you a bottle of base, and it's a resin. It's a thinner viscosity. Then they have the building resin. It's a resin, it's a glue, but it's a thicker viscosity. Gives you a little more time to work with. Then they have a top resin. This is in these systems, S&S or Kiera Sky. You'll see step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, 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 blah. It's a resin, the top, because you can actually use the resin as top coat because it's so thick and it dries to this really high shine. Y'all ever dropped a drop of glue somewhere and just when it dries, it literally looks like gel, like clear gel. It's all a resin. They're selling you 3 different types of glues in a bottle. I ain't mad at them. I want to make me a resin system. Because y'all buy it. Y'all buy anything that they tell you to buy. But I want you to be informed and smart enough to know that they are the same. And that when it comes down at the end of the day, you can do the same thing with all of them. It's really all about how fast you work, and you can choose. You know, do I want a slower setting? Do I want it to build? Am I using this to build up the nail? Okay. So, cyanacrylate, Gorilla Glue. Buy that at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, in the section where they, wrenches and all of that stuff, right? Here's the issue that I have with that. Why? Why? Why are you using that? Ain't you a nail tech? Or are you a carpenter? Why are you buying your nail glues at Lowe's and Home Depot? Why? And me as a consumer, I see Gorilla Glue on your table and I'm like, why? Oh, I know why. Because you don't know that they're all the same. And you don't know that you can buy that same product. Because here's the thing. I used to use Gorilla Glue, right? Before I was an instructor, right? I used it. You never got to the bottom of the glue. You buy it and they'll argue and say, it's cheaper. Yeah, it is. You're never going to get to the bottom of that glue. Because by the time you get halfway through it, it's all dried up and hard. Look at the ingredients on the back of it. If anybody has some Gorilla Glue, please. Look at the ingredients on the back of it. The very first ingredient, probably the only one, cyanide. You got the blue top one, was thinner, and you got the green top one, and that one's thicker. And then, hello, what's the difference? They're all the same. That's why we as nail technicians, our bottles of cyanacrylate, because I'm gonna tell you right now, like I just told you, this bottle, I hate it because it glues itself to itself. But at the end of the day, it dries by air. So every time we're pulling it out and the air's getting it, it's starting to dry up. So you never get to the bottom of the bottle before you have to throw it away. Anybody who does dip nails will tell you. That's why you can buy the refill that's this big that looks like a guess what kind of bottle? Gorilla Glue. Hello. Hello. Why do you think nail glue comes in these small bottles? How many times have I given you a glue since you started?
Once.
Right. But if you were using this every day, by the time you get down to, a lot of times the top done glued itself to itself. A lot of times the top has glued itself to itself. You have wasted this right here, $1 a piece. $1 a piece. And you never get to the bottom before you have to throw it away. So the better option for nail technicians, yeah, go out there and buy it. It's cheaper, but when you're throwing away half the product before it's even run out, what good was that? You still had to go buy another $5 bottle of Gorilla Glue, right? I think it's like $8. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it ain't. But you're never gonna use the whole bottle. So if you're a nail technician, that's just like we don't use dental acrylic. Why would I go and buy a big tub of dental acrylic when it's just one color, the color of your teeth, when I have to go mix it, when I can go and buy something that's already made for nails? Because Lord knows I have enough acrylic in here for all of y'all to use every day for the next 10 years. And we still going to have, just from all the stuff that I have over the years collected. Okay? Use what is meant for your industry. And it looks more professional. Because if I sit up in your chair and you've got a bottle of Gorilla Glue sitting on your table, I'm going to be looking at you like, why am I paying you top dollar for my nails and you are buying your nail products at Lowe's? Just a thought, you know. But that's me. You want to do high price nails, you want to charge top dollar, then you need to buy nail products. Okay? This is going to last you a lot longer because it's a smaller bottle. We're not over here getting air in it every time. And it's actually made, the product is made for nails. It's got a brush on it. You can use it for different things. These girls over here putting that Gorilla Glue on a little pap of foil and using it to, how you going to apply that to a nail tip? You could be using this for so many different things rather than having 3, 4, 5, and then you got the Gorilla Glue sitting over there that you use just for stones. I'm sorry, that don't make no sense. But I was gonna say something else, but I said that I don't want to get. He done already cut me off because I know what he's doing. He turning them off. He got a little deep. He said, "Y'all got to go to the live. Y'all got to the live to get too much information." All right, now everybody understand that. I hope I made that perfectly clear. What is a resin? A glue. It's nail glue. Ingredients on this glue right here. I can't read it because my eyes. But I guarantee cyanacrylate on here. What's up? What you need?
Glasses.
Oh, my glasses.
Draw.
Can you see that? What is it? Look. Oh. Contains cyanacrylate. That's the only ingredient. Cyanacrylate. Hello. Y'all not about to get me. Y'all not about to get me. You're not gonna get me today or any other day. I got my glasses over here. Thank you, baby. So what is a resin accelerator? What does it mean when we use an accelerator? Because that's the name that they're going to put on the bottle, say that it's a resin accelerator. What is that?
Speeds up the drying process.
Speeds up the drying process. Okay? Now, you'll see resin accelerators in a bottle, brush on.
I've never seen it actually. This is my first time.
Well, this, you've never seen this? New glue dryer spray? Right. Well, this is a resin accelerator too. But it's in a spray bottle. And let me just tell you, if any of y'all ever done dip nails before? Any of y'all ever bought the system?
Oh yeah.
Where it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 5 is usually the accelerator that dries everything. By the time you rub that brush, because it's in a brush bottle, by the time you rub that brush on this glue that's still wet, what happens to the tip of your brush? It's going to get sticky and it's got glue on it. So they usually sell you a number 6 bottle, and that's going to be your brush cleaner that you're going to stick your brush into and all that. You know what that is? Guess what that is?
Acetone.
Very expensive acetone in a bottle. Y'all got to know what this stuff is, so that you don't get got, okay? Because I love to spend money on nail supplies. But what do I want to spend them on? You think I want to give you $20 for a bottle of acetone? Think about let's think about what, and I can't even, I got to do it. I just got to call out names. What is Young Nails Swipe?
Top coating.
They call it Swipe. It's their cleaner. Their cleaner to clean off your nails with. What is it made out of? Look at the ingredients, y'all. Alcohol with a little bit of blue coloring in it. Bloop. And they charge you $19 a bottle for it. And it is this big. Put a little pump on the top. Boop, boop, boop. I'm in the wrong business. If I should be a scammer, because I'm telling you, these nail industry people, I get it. They trying to make money. It's just like the whole scam of, you know, we got mustard, Walmart brand. Now I ain't gonna lie to you. I got to have the Frenches because to me, it's just, there's a taste difference. There is a taste difference. There's a thickness difference, whatever. But at the end of the day, is it mustard?
It's like cheese. A lot of cheese made in one factory,
Right.
but they just put different labels. on
Right.
it.
And I'm taking
Right.
cheap one.
And you're gonna get the cheapest. So what? So if you over here trying to figure out how you gonna make your car payment every month, you over there picking out the Walmart cheese. Because guess what? It's gonna do the job, isn't it?
It's gonna come out the same.
Right. There's a taste difference. Maybe there's a difference in the way it melts or something like that. But is it not cheese?
It's still cheese.
It's
though.
cheese, my dear. It's cheese. Right? So I get what they're doing. I understand business. I understand marketing. May the best marketer win. And they normally do. But you guys need to be aware. Okay? So a resin accelerator, you got it in that brush and you're brushing it on, and the next thing they sell you is a number 6, is that's to clean the brush, right? Clean brush cleaner to dip your brush in. So why use a brush at all when then you got this in a can? And you can spray it. This is $9 for a can that's gonna last you all month if you're doing it every day. And you can use this for more than one thing. This I can use to spray my tips to make sure they stuck down. If the clients, maybe their fingers are cold and it's just not sticking so well, because that's the reason why, y'all. You ever wondered why your tips don't stick so good to them hands? Because they dead. They're not living. There's no warmth there. Remember, heat is what makes this chemical process happen. So you may have to spray this on the hand to make the tip stick. That brush accelerator, you're going to brush that on the nails because it's going everywhere. And you're probably going to stick your brush to, like, it's just a mess. So have one tool rather than 6 different tools. Okay? Because you now know what the difference is. Now, let's talk about nail wraps real quick, because if you see in this picture what this lady is using here, or this nail tech is using. What is that? You see that paper on there? Now she's using a piece of plastic to touch, to be able to press it down, because you got to remember you can't touch this glue, right? And you don't want to use like a brush to lay it down because it's glue, right? So what she's using is a piece of plastic to help lay that down, right? But I'm going to demonstrate this to you guys how exactly what's going on here. And the only reason you guys need to know about nail wraps, not because anybody's going to ask you for it, but because it's on your state board test. They're going to ask, you guys are nail technicians. You got to know the history and the how to do this, that, all of that stuff. Okay? So I'm going to demonstrate it to you guys. You don't have to do it on state board. Now, when you guys do your 20 nail wraps, dips, you can absolutely try this technique. I have this stuff for you guys to do it with. But at the end of the day, the dips and the pours are going to be quicker, and you'll be able to get them done in a more timely fashion. Because this right here, you got to actually cut the wrap to fit and all that stuff. All right? Now, nail wraps are used to repair and strengthen the nail. And there's different types of wraps. Like I told you, you got your silk wrap and your fiberglass wrap. I've shown you guys that. And I want to pass this around so that you guys can see this, okay? So that you can touch it and feel it and see exactly what I'm talking about. Will you hand this to them, please, so they can feel of it and touch it, okay? So, how they're applied, they're literally, you can use fiberglass wraps with tips. It's so soft. It's literally like feather soft, like a feather, okay, and thin. All right. So this, what you see on the screen here, this is a wrap system. This is a wrap system that you could buy, right? And the only thing that's on here that you guys do not already have access to is the Accelerate. See, this is in a spray. See that spray bottle? It's like, this is an aerosol can, but you can also buy it in pumps. Okay, I prefer that rather than the brush on, which is what most of these systems have. That white bottle, that's the resin. That's the glue. Okay, you got primer there. That's in a little bottle. It's primer. Okay, and then you got the tweezers. The tweezers help you kind of pick up that, because you can't really imagine me trying to pick up that little fabric that I've cut, right? So tweezers, you're gonna need tweezers, kind of lay it on there. And then you got buffers and the scissors to help you cut the paper. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing really to it. The only thing that you don't have access to is this. If you need it, you got to get the fiberglass. So buying these systems, and that's what that is. That strip right there on the bottom, that strip, that's the fiberglass. Because here's another example of fiberglass on that. What they have right there is on a strip. So see that? It's on a strip rather than a roll. So that's what you see there. Nothing to it. Now you can apply wraps with a tip if you want to extend the nail. You can do that. But what do you need to do if you're going to be doing it with a tip? What technique are you guys going to have to do with the tip? You can't just glue it down. You gotta blend it. You gotta make it look natural and thin and all of that, because when you lay that glue on there, if you've got that hump right there where the tip is glued down, it's gonna be another hump when you glue it. It's just gonna rise and rise and rise. So blending the tip is very important. And we'll get to that this week, hopefully as well, too. Okay? Blending the tip, laying acrylic and all that. If not, it'll be next week. Now, when we extend the tips with an overlay, you need what's called a stress line or a stress strip. Now, when we talk about a stress line and a stress strip, where is the stress on your nail? In the apex area, meaning right where you glue the tip to the free edge. Okay? That is where your nail experiences the most stress. So when they talk about a stress strip, and that was in that first picture that I showed you where the lady was pressing it down, she was applying a stress strip to the area of the nail that is going to more than likely break. Okay? So that's like an extra strip of fabric, like a reinforcement, okay? Or a stress line. Again, something that you will need to know for state board, not necessarily unless you're going to be doing this in your salon, which, like I said, nobody does this anymore.
That's what I was about to say. So when, say for instance, somebody is, well, when it's their natural nail and they've broken it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just repair it?
Yes. You lay it right on the nail where that broken crack is. Because you'll see when you put this on and you lay that glue on top of this fabric, it dries or cures just as hard as acrylic or it's glue. You spray this glue on there, it's strong, very strong.
So nobody has given you like a hard time about, because like I have a natural client, I could say, and she is like real strict on no acrylic, you know what I mean?
Right. But what if she breaks? If she wants her natural nails and one breaks, how are you gonna fix it?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, there you go. I mean,
so now it's like
I guarantee you, if you say this is nail glue, she's gonna say, "Oh, okay, well that's fine." But what is this? What is nail glue? It's an acrylate. Yeah, it's an acrylate. If you want your nails natural, then ma'am, you should do them yourselves. At the end of the day, you want me to repair your natural nail. How am I'm not God. I can't go.
Yeah.
It's something I gotta do to repair it. You can't repair it with just a gel manicure, right? It's gonna break, and then if it snatches off at the hyponychium, think about those clients that break their nail down low. It's happened to me before. You don't want that little piece of natural nail snagging on stuff. I would much rather have something over it to cover it and protect it as it grows out, right? So these clients said, I don't want nothing on my nails, but you go right ahead and put some lacquer on. Baby, what?
Yeah.
What?
I'm like, well, Now this finger
There's
is
something on your
shortest.
nail.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, she don't know what she's talking about. Because natural nails are just that. If you don't want anything on them, then you can't sit in my chair. This is what I do. I can take care of your natural nails, but what if it breaks?
Yeah.
And you want me to repair it? It's different if she's like, no, leave it, which is crazy. But if she's like, no, leave it. I only want natural things on my nails. Okay. Meanwhile, they going to McDonald's and eating, let me go now. Healthy nails. I went off last night. I said, y'all want healthy nails. Meanwhile, y'all ain't been to the gym in 10 years. You drink liquor every day, smoke and drink. Like, come on now.
You ain't saying nothing but the truth.
But I mean, we learned about this. Your nails are only healthy if you are. I digress. Anyway, so backfills, filling in a nail wrap. How are we going to fill in a nail wrap? Well, the same way we fill in with acrylic. But here's the difference. You only do a fill every other appointment. So this is why for maintenance is really, really important, because every 2 weeks when you fill it in, you would just buff the nail. Remember, slick don't stick. But then you've already laid the nail wrap on there and strengthened the nail, right? And you got the glue and all that stuff on there. In 2 weeks, they're going to come back and they're going to say, I need a fill-in because it's done grown out. You're not going to try to take and cut a little tiny piece of fabric. Bless your heart if you do. You're not going to try to take a little bitty piece of fabric and lay it just on the back. Not in 2 weeks. It's not going to be easy to do. So what you're going to do is you're just going to buff that nail, etch it, and then lay some more resin brush it on and spray your nail glue accelerator or brush it on and buff that and lay some more polish on that nail, right? But in 4 weeks, now it's grown out quite a bit. Now you can actually buff it and add additional fabric to the back. The reason I don't use these, the reason I ain't finna do all that, that's too much work. Who finna sit there and cut out a little U-shaped piece of fabric to fit on the back of your nail when I can slap some acrylic on it and call it a day? The only benefit to doing this for clients are the ones that insist upon it and the ones that have allergies, right? It's too much work. It's just too much work. But you will learn today how to do it, how to apply it, okay? Now, dip. Time to talk about dip. Now, what are the advantages of dip nails? Okay, resins can be used in conjunction with specially formulated polymers. So when we talk about polymers, we're talking about this powder, right? Because monomer is the liquid, right? Specially formulated. What do I mean by specially formulated? What do I mean by that? Why does it have to be specially formulated? What do they mean by that? Because you're going to say, well, Miss Mary, didn't you say all acrylic is the same? All dip is acrylic? It's all acrylic, right? Didn't you say that? Well, here's the problem. Not all acrylics are good for dipping. Uh-oh. Okay? Now, I want to show you an example of what I mean. I can get this out. Okay? So here I have tons of different colored acrylics, like tons of different ones, right? We got glow acrylics. We've got Valentino. We've got metallic acrylic, right? Acrylic powders, all acrylic. All acrylic. Now, what I want you to notice, because and this is one of the brands that are out there called Glam and Glitz. One of the things that I hate people when people say it, but I sometimes say it too. They don't say Glam and Glitz, they call it Trash and Tricks. Because it is sometimes very hard to work with. Anybody ever used with Glam and Glitz before? It's cheap. It's not expensive. All right, you can get a container of Glam and Glitz for like $5.99, right? Whereas an ounce of this, $13, right? A half an ounce of Valentino, $15, $16, right? Now, what's the difference? Let's talk about it. When we say that there are certain polymers or certain powders that are used for dipping, my acrylic line is appropriate for dipping, for laying acrylic, for using it for 3D flowers. Whereas Glam and Glitz, you try to pour this, it'll pour out, but it's usually going to go, okay, so let's think about sugar and confectioner sugar, like regular granulated sugar and confectioner sugar. What's the consistency difference? Any bakers in here?
One's more of a powder, like just the really fine type of thing that you
Very
can sift.
fine powder. It has to be sifted, right? Because you ever tried to use confectioner's powder and it's like balls because it's kind of balled up because it's so. If you try to pour confectioner's sugar, anybody ever pour confectioner's sugar and just go plop?
Yep.
You gotta like get it out, put it in the sifter to crack to separate it. Sugar pours right out, just like a waterfall. Okay, that's the difference. All right. So when I say that, this is a dip powder. This is a colored dip powder. This is a sample that I had gotten from that I'm gonna probably be having my own line with, right? When I pour this, it comes out like a waterfall. You see that? Just pours so nicely. And that's what you want when you're talking about a dip powder. Now this one, and I was trying to find a good one, but this one will do.
Like chalky.
Can you see?
I'm trying to see.
I mean, I'm turning it and it's stuck in the bottle. It ain't moved like it should be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not moving. And there's worse ones than this. This one's actually decent, not the best, right? But I can't even pour it back in the container without tapping it, right? So again, let me show you that again. We had Glam and Glitz, which is a colored powder, and this is a neon powder. This one has a lot of pigment in it, okay? Then you got, this is a dip powder, okay? See that?
It's running.
Very, very smooth pour, okay? So not all powders are made the same, okay? So let's talk about that real quick. Anybody ever use Young Nail powder? One of the complaints that a lot of new nail techs have, and they tell me about Young Nails, is that it's so creamy, so smooth and so buttery, and just like it goes everywhere. It moves all over the place, okay? Tammy Taylor, not so much. Pick it up, lay it where you want it. It stays there until you move it. Okay? Which one do you think would benefit you if you're a beginner? The stiffer one. The stiffer one, because you need time to be able to manipulate that product when you're new. If you lay it on the nail and it just goes woo all over the place, and that could be because of your ratio, picking up too much liquid, but at the end of the day, I've used Young Nails and I love Young Nails. It's a very buttery, creamy product to use, but if you are not a professional, it'll run away from you. You gotta know how to run behind and move that product properly, okay? So, when you're buying acrylic products to manufacture, to sell, they have different levels to it. They'll say, okay, you got your salt consistency, your sugar consistency, your flour consistency, and your confectioner sugar consistency. Y'all see what I'm getting at here? And the price point is different for each one. It may be $100 a pound for the sugar consistency. It's $200 a pound for that creamy, extra powdery, nice and smooth, consistent. It's more expensive. So not all products are made the same. However, they are the same. Okay, just like the mill, the grit, the grain, all of that is what you're paying for. Okay, and ease of use. So if you're a new nail tech, there's different products out there that they actually say is great for beginners because it doesn't move until you move it. Y'all heard of like Not Polish and stuff? They say that their brand is good for beginners because it takes a long time for it to cure, and it moves when you move it, and that's great. That's great. But then there's more expensive brands out there that if you ain't a professional and you ain't no acrylic slanger like me, I know how to use my acrylic. It don't matter what kind of acrylic it is. I'm going to get adapted to it real quick because I know what it's doing. I know the chemical makeup of it. Okay? So when you're buying dip acrylics, okay, so let's take a look at this Nitro brand here. Let's take a look at it and see exactly which I'm trying to think what I do with it. That Nitro brand. Okay. This is a 3-in-1. This one can be dipped or poured. Let's look at how it pours. See how it's actually pouring out. Now this one I probably should have shook it a little bit. But you want to shake it so that it's all loose. It's been sitting for a while. So let me do this and let me shake it in the bottle. I highly recommend when you're talking about colored powders that you shake them up in the bottle before you start pouring and dipping. This is brand new. Okay? Shake it up so you can loosen up the pigments. But once you take it out and you start pouring it, it's going to pour onto the nail, okay? Whereas another brand, and I can tell you Glam and Glitz is just, and this is not the best acrylic powder out there to use. This is white for dipping. They gave this to me for free. All right, now let me show you mine. Okay, this is my Mega White here. Mega White can be used for dipping and pouring. Remember what I just told you about the consistency and how you want it to pour. Look at this. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. That's what you want. You start getting into them chalky, chunky, you're not gonna be able to dip with it. What's gonna happen is what's gonna happen when you do pour it, it's gonna be lay there in chunks and it's not gonna be smooth. It's not gonna absorb. You gotta think about it. You're pouring this over into the resin, so the resin needs to be able to absorb it. And if you pour it in a big plop chunk and just plop lays on there, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna have inconsistencies in the way it's laid, and you're gonna have to do a lot of filing to smooth it out. Remember, I like to lay my acrylic like I don't have a what? So why on earth would I want to use a product that is not gonna lay smoothly for me? Okay? But it's your world. When you get out there and you start buying products, this is why when people ask me, what is the best product? What do I usually say?
Married to grown.
Well, mine. But when they ask me, what is the best gel polish to buy? Well, what if they're in Alaska, right? Or if they're in South Carolina and they don't. What if they I don't have gel polish. So what my normal answer to that is the one that you can put your hands on and test it. Mm-hmm. The one that you can see. The one that's at the nail supply store closest to you. Because y'all, when I say I'm not lying to y'all, my polish line, because I'm working on it, it's coming out. My polish line will be just as good, if not identical, and I'm just telling you because I don't want to tell y'all too much, to the likes of Valentino. A $15 a bottle with no lacquer to go with it, polish. You know why I know? Because we buy from the same people. The question is, who do you want to support? Who are you going to spend your money with? Them or the person that taught you everything you know? That's your choice, and I ain't going to be mad at you either way. But what I'm trying to say is these companies, a lot of this stuff is exactly the same. So if I tell you, no, you need to go buy Vetro, when they got the exact same thing in a Kiara Sky bottle that you can purchase right here in the same place that you live, does Mr. Johnny not sell Kiara Sky? Why would you want to go through the rigmarole of ordering it online and you don't even know what the color looks like, because you know they look different on the computer screen than they do when you look at it in the bottle, right? What for? Why? So my suggestion to you is to go where you can touch it, feel it, see it, put your hands on it, and it's right there. When people ask me, what's the best? Because at the end of the day, what's best for me won't be best for you. Okay? So, dip systems. They're great if you are a nail technician who maybe you're not good at laying acrylic. Do you know how many students come to me and they're like, Miss Mary, I ain't gonna make no money. I'm horrible at laying acrylic. I can't do it. I quit. What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Do y'all not see these people out here charging $50 for a dip set? What did I just tell you you have to be good at to do dips?
Nothing.
Polishing. Well, look, nothing. Jasmine said nothing.
And my little 5-year-old.
Your 5-year-old sister can polish, can't she? She can make all the money in the city doing dips at 5 years old and put on TikTok. She's gonna be famous.
Hey, don't tell her that. She been trying.
But what you see what I'm saying? You don't leave money on the table. If you are not good at, I have a student right now who has her own salon suite at Solar, paying $225 a week when she could be down there at Broad Street Suites giving me that money. But anyway, $225 a week, making money. And guess what she does all day long?
Yep.
Nope.
What?
Gel X. Girl ain't laid acrylic since she left school. Gel X ain't laid acrylic since she left school. Shout out to Danielle, that's my girl. Because she's like, why? What do I need for what? For what? These people paying me to do Gel X nails. They perfect every time. And you look at them, you're like, damn, those nails look good. I know they do. She just popped them on. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. She is not leaving money on the table. Just like I told y'all, if you're not good at doing nails, do feet. Y'all done been doing feet the last week, right? How easy is that?
Too easy.
Too easy. And how much money can you charge for a pedicure? We talking about as much money as you want. Right? As much money as you want. Especially you throw in a little wine. You throw in a little paraffin wax treatment on the hands. You know, I sat here with my client yesterday. She told me her dentist does paraffin wax. Her dentist. Come on now.
You said what?
I said, what ghetto doctor am I going to that don't give me paraffin wax on my hands when I'm getting my teeth drilled on? See what I'm saying? Do not leave money on the table. Yeah, I don't like dip. What they got to do with you? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China, as my mama would say? They ain't got nothing to do with you. This is what these clients want. There's a whole market out there for you to just do dip and make more money than any acrylic nail tech out there, because it takes you 15 minutes to do it. Let's be for real. By the time you do the manicure and you start pouring that dip on there, $35. I like making the $1 per minute. You can do a dip manicure, and how long does it take you to do a manicure?
7 minutes.
7 minutes for one hand, right? We talking 12 minutes for two, maybe 14 minutes if you're doing it back to back to back. Then you mess around and you do the polish. You see, the polish is this. Only thing you adding is hello. 30 minutes, $35 and a tip. You'd be making more money than anybody. That's why I don't want y'all to ever get discouraged because you can't lay no acrylic. These days, you don't have to. This is a new day. You guys are the new nail techs. You're the new generation. You don't have to lay acrylic. You don't have to do gel. You can bust out pedicures and manicures all day long doing dip and make more money than me. I know this for a fact. So, dip saves time and it's going to provide strength to the nails, right? For those people that, let me tell y'all something. Okay. How many people you see walking around with nails like this? Y'all be honest.
Rare.
Be for real.
Good looking nails.
Rare.
No, I said nails like this.
Stilettos is
With diamonds and blood drips and glitter under the bottom. How many people you know walk around like that?
A lot.
Do you hush. How many people do you see in this room right now with their nails like this? One. Right? How many people you see in the grocery store with their nails like this? Let me do one better. How many people do you know that make 6 figures or more that walk around with nails like this? AKA your doctors, your lawyers, your nurses, your hairstylists, your massage therapists. Hell, I know nail techs that can't wear nails because they can't do nails with nails. I say that to say,
I can't do it.
because I'm a little bougetto, I'm a little ghetto now, like, even me. When I was younger, I had to do my own nails because I couldn't afford to go get nails like this. Right? So what I'm saying to you is y'all stop working harder and not smarter. Meaning, the people that are going to pay you, and give you good tips and not make you work harder. You know how long it took me to do these? It took 2 days, first of all. And then when you add up the hours that it took me to do it, we're talking about 4 or 5 hours, right? Most people, in my chair, most people can't afford this. Even in my chair, right? So the people that are going to pay you, the ones that are going to actually keep you busy and tip you, are the ones that are getting those nice short little manicures. The ones that are getting the pedicures. And all they really want is for their hands to look nice in their Instagram pictures.
That's like you want stones.
Oh, no, that's cute, but it's not for me. You're going to get sick and tired of that mess.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, when I first started doing nails and I was doing nails full time, I had a set called the Just Do Whatever set. And I was like, I only did that because I love doing these ghetto crazy nails and my clients, that was my clientele. But guess how much it cost? $65 on the dot. $65 and I could do whatever I wanted. And when I tell you them women was lined up, I got burnt out so quick. And I kept saying to myself, because y'all do this to yourselves, I can't raise my prices. Who said? Who said you can't raise your prices?
Business.
Who said you can't raise your prices? Who's your boss?
Me.
My boss said I could do whatever I want. My boss told me I can quit doing nails if I want. Matter of fact, my boss said I don't do that. I raised my price for them Just Do Whatever sets. Guess what? I got way more clients coming in for the easy stuff and was making way more money because it didn't take me 3 hours to do it. Think about $65 divided by 3. We're talking about less than $20 an hour. What I just tell y'all, I like to make $1 per minute. But I can bust out a manicure, a pedicure, a dip set, a gel manicure in 30 minutes and make $60. Come on now, y'all stop. Y'all doing too much. All these extendos, you can't pay me to sit in here and do an extendo on you that takes me 4 hours for $150, $200, not even $200. What is 4 hours? $60 times 4. That's $250 basically for a set of nails. And then she gonna say, I ain't got no more money to tip you. What? Who paying $250 for these extendo nails? Where they at? Where they at? Y'all working yourselves to death, and it's the reason why you hate doing nails and you end up going back working at Home Depot. The place you used to work at, because you like, I can't, I don't have the energy to do it anymore. I'm burnt out. You burnt out because you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. Period. You are your own boss. You get to decide how much you charge. You get to decide if you even want to do acrylic nails. I would love for Danielle to come down here and talk to y'all, my student, who literally, that's all she does. Top tier nails, y'all check her out. All she does is gel X. I mean, she knows how to do everything else, but she doing gel X all day long. Killing it. Can afford a suite over at Solar. I don't even know what else to tell y'all. But dip nails, you can make a lot of money doing it. Okay? And it does not require a lot of skill. So if you ever get discouraged or you ever feel like, Miss Mary, I ain't got no clients, I ain't making no money, it's your own fault. You forcing yourself to do something that maybe you should not be doing. Because if you're not amazing at laying acrylic, then maybe you need to scale back a little bit and work your way, practice on that, and while you're doing that, do the simple stuff. The stuff that everybody wants. If you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, you're not busting out with this. You're not doing this. Hello, you ain't doing it. You can't. Because I'm going to be real with you. If I show up in your office and you a lawyer and you got nails that look like this, I'm going to know what's going on. What you do when you leave here? What's your other job? Not that means they're any less of a lawyer or any better, but they just don't do it. You don't see it. You just don't see it. So those are the people that are going to make sure that you pay your bills, get your bills paid every day. Stop working so hard trying to out nail the next nail tech that's out here probably hates their life because they spend all day doing all of this mess on people's nails and they ain't getting charged what they're worth, or they're not getting paid what they're worth. If you're going to do all this, you better charge. These nails right here, $500. Yeah, I ain't doing it on nobody for less than that. Especially if I had to, these are gel X, but if I had to sculpt these, if I had to sit down and deal with all the back and forth and this hand, it's too much. 4 hours in my chair, you got to pay. And that's just for the nails. We ain't talking about the nail art, the stones. There are nail techs out here. Y'all need to go look at, what's that one in California? Oh my God, they do nails like this right here. They're charging $1,000 and getting it. I'm gonna show y'all. I can bring them up. The nail tech. They are getting it. Okay. So dip nails will be awesome for the beginner nail tech. Okay, and there are different ways to do it. Okay, we're gonna talk about that now. You're gonna do, when you do the manicure, these are some of the steps. Okay, and this is per the book. All right. You're going to do a wet or a dry manicure depending on the client's nail condition of their hands. If they've never had a manicure, please give them a manicure in the water. If they've never had, please push some cuticles back. Get them off the nail plates. Please treat those PNFs because, you guys want these Instagram nails that you can show a picture of and all that stuff. Please don't cut PNFs. All right, please don't do that. But if you're going to be doing this, you got to do a wet or dry manicure. And this is why it is so important for you guys to learn it. So if you guys want to join us, the link is in the bio for this class so you can see what's going on and see me do this dip manicure today. All right. Now you're going to use a base resin, and y'all, what is a base resin? Glue, right? And my base resin, my duo resin, what does it say on there?
Duo, base and top.
Base and top. So that means you can use it for a base and a top. So these systems that you buy that say 1, 2, 3, 4, they got base in one container, top in one container, and guess what? They the same. Put the base on. You're going to dip the nail or pour. And then you're going to have to do what? That's why you guys got this brush. Dust the excess. And why do we need to dust the excess? before we lay another layer?
It's not for sensitive.
Why do we need to dust off the excess powder before we brush some more glue on? What's going to happen with that excess powder? It's going to clump up on my brush and get all over dust and all, and then it's going to dry, and then you stick it back in here. It's contaminated. It's a mess, right? So you want to dust off the excess. Now, here's the thing. When you do one nail, and you're only doing one nail when I'm doing this demonstration, you can't just do it immediately. Why? What does resin do? How does it cure? So if I just go brush, brush, dip, and then I go to dust, what's going to happen to this brush? That glue is probably not dry. Okay? Now, what you cannot do, and this is where a lot of people mess up, they're like, oh, well, shh. But now, remember, this is a resin accelerator. So if I put this on this nail and then I go to brush some more glue onto it, what's going to happen to that glue as soon as it touches this nail? Immediately. So you're going to save the resin accelerator for the very end when you are done. Okay? So this works perfectly fine when you're doing a set of 10 nails, because guess what? This one, when you get ready to dust it off and you're down to it's already dried and dried by the air. Right? So remember, when you're doing this, and when I'm doing this as a demonstration, we're going to have to wait a second or two for that glue the resin to actually dry. Don't go dusting this off until you know it's dry, because it's going to get glue all in your fluffy, nice little contour brush. I have one of these. I use this took one home to use as a fluffy brush for my makeup. That's another thing, y'all. Brushes, a lot of nail art brushes. Go to Michael's. Get some of this stuff from Hobby Lobby. They work the same, okay? All right. So, dust the excess powder. Then we apply a second coat of resin. And then we're going to repeat. Dip again. Once you've dipped it and dusted off your powder, you can spray your activator. And that's going to make sure that everything is cured and dry so that you can go ahead and shape the nail. Now, I'm telling you, the book's going to tell you to spray the activator. Don't spray that activator until you are done. Do not spray it. If you do, you are not going to be able to lay a coat. It's going to dry before you can even get that nail into that dip powder. Okay? Now, when they say apply a base resin, they're talking about the top, because you can actually, that's sealing it in, so that when you go to file the nail, you don't file your color off, because they're using a color, an orange, right? You guys are going to be using the pink today, and I'm going to let you guys play with the dip powder that they gave us over at Nitro, okay, to actually try to see what it looks like with a color, all right? But you're going to have to shape and smooth this nail. Once you shape it and smooth it, it's going to be etched and rough, right? So then you need to apply what they call a top resin, which is what? Some old glue. Now, what I don't like about using a top resin, I like to apply a gel top coat, clear, is that sometimes it's glue, right? So it may not be as smooth looking. You might have to do 2 coats. And I'm like, all this glue, Lord, all this glue. I would much rather use a gel top coat, okay? But that's what the book tells you as far as the steps are concerned. Is it going to be different if you order a Kiara Sky dip system? Probably. They have all the little numbers, which one goes next, blah, blah, blah. But as long as you understand how these things work, this should be easy, okay? So now, French systems, y'all seen the ones where they have the little special French tray and it's slanted so that when you push the nail in, it goes in at an angle so that it gives you that French line. But y'all know I like my smile lines to be really happy, extra happy, deep. That ain't deep enough for me. That looks weird, actually. I don't like that at all.
That's the old school Frenches.
Old school French. Old school French. Someone's asking for help. All right, so with a French manicure application, it's just the way you angle it into, but that's too much work. all that, pushing it in, and then it's not deep enough for me, I might as well polish my own French tip on there, okay? So we're not doing no French tip application up in here. First of all, I don't have the tray to do it, and I don't, if you want to learn that, watch a YouTube video on how to do that, because it's really not going to turn out as nice as you want it to, okay? Now, that's the end of this chapter, all right? So, now I'm going to show you guys how to actually do it, okay? Now, we've got to change our little view here real quick so that you guys can see it on the big screen, because as far as watching me, y'all, you can come up here and stand behind me if you want to, but I think y'all got probably the better view with that big old TV screen right there, okay? So now I need the view where it's above me. Need that view. So what brand do you guys plan to buy when you go buy these dip systems? I know Mr. Johnny got like 80 different ones with the colors and stuff and the matching nail polishes. Y'all been using this Nitro brand. What y'all think about it? Y'all been using the lacquer on the toes. Y'all been using it. Not bad.
You want to talk to them about your setup?
Yeah, I can talk to them.
I was winging it because I'm in practice mode.
Right. Well, you've never used a dip system before, right? This will be the first time. All right.
When I graduate and I start actually taking clients for real, then I'm starting investing.
Yeah, and it is an investment, but at $13 for 3 different products.
And I know me, I'm want several different colors.
Oh, yeah,
You need.
So-
when you buy the whole line, you usually get it a little bit cheaper. Okay.
I mean, thinking about just going ahead and making my own clothes.
I'll be going big or going home. Going to
Here. We're getting set up so that you guys can see us. Just give us a moment. And I need some more cups. Some cups here.
Tips and reps.
Okay. Let's see what we got. It's so zoomed. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's a little laggy on my
I've
end.
been doing that all day.
Okay. So,
It's a little like on everybody.
I have my little hand prepared here. Not so laggy. But it's good on your end, right? So the replay will be...
It's good on my end.
Okay, so the replay will be nice. Okay, so as far as the replay, you guys will get the replay, okay? Now, this finger is prepared like it's a natural nail, okay? It is just a tip on this nail. Now, when you guys are doing the dip system, you're going to do a manicure just like, or a dry manicure just like you would any other manicure, okay? Clipping the nail, making it shaped the way that the client wants it. If they have a square nail shape, then you're going to file it and shape it, do all of that stuff, okay? In this case, this lady has just a regular short round nail shape, okay? And these are the clients that are going to come to you. These are the ones that are going to come, all right? So what we want to do is we want to buff the nail so that, because remember, slick to slick does not stick, right? We're going to buff it so that there's no shine on the nail. Okay? Now, as far as removing the dust, I'm going to use your nylon brush. This is my plastic hand, so it ain't going to matter. Now, what I want, in traditional nail salons, all right, what they usually do is they'll say pick a color, and they're going to have you pull out Say this person wants white. And they're going to take the finger after they've prepped and primed it and done all that, and they're going to literally dip it in here. Now, a lot of people would argue and say it doesn't matter. It's just powder, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happens if you micro cut this client's nail with the buffer? Because, you know, remember, we have micro cuts and micro traumas that happen when we are messing around with the skin. I don't want nobody's blood or none of that in my powder. Not to mention, can we sterilize someone's hand? At the most we can do is sanitize it, right? So I don't want, and I told y'all about hand sanitizer, so hopefully you wash the client's hand and sanitize their hands just like you do your manicure, right? But at the end of the day, it's still got germs and all that stuff in it. So there's a different way to do this. And there is what's called the pour method. Now, young nails, they got it right with their dip system. They call it slick pour. Okay, that's the brand. I'm pulling her fingers back so that we can isolate this finger right here. It's called the slick pour system. They don't teach you to dip. They don't want you to dip their powder. They want you to pour it. Okay? So how are we going to pour? We're going to pour it directly out of this. Just pour it and keep and until we get done with the, and then put it right back in the container. That just defeats the purpose. You might as well just dip the finger, right? It's still touching the client's finger. It's still getting all their germs and nastiness on it. So we're not going to just pour it out of this container. We're going to take out just what we think we will need. At the end of the day, how much did this cost? Not even $13, right? I want to say for both of them, all three, it was $13. So if you break it down, even if you break it up evenly, we're talking about $4. You're charging $60 for it. Pour what you need, and when you're done with it, throw it away. Okay? So with that being said, we're only going to pour into this little cup what we will think we will need for the entire set. Because remember, we're going to try to do at least 2 coats. All right? You may need to do 3. If you're doing a colored acrylic, I highly recommend that you do a clear coat on the bottom or a base layer. And then do your color so that when you soak it off, remember that these colored acrylics, they will stain the nail. They will stain the nail. So we don't want to do, let's just say you just, they wanted black and you put it directly on the nail. What color is that client's nail going to be when they come back? It's going to be like a greenish, kind of look like they got a fungus. Okay? So you want to have a base layer on your client's nail. And the base layer is going to be either clear or this ain't going to stain the nail. Okay? It's a pink, right? Their nail's pink anyway. So you're going to lay just like you do any acrylic system. Dehydrator and primer. Okay? Dehydrate and prime. I dehydrate and prime with every service, even a manicure. It's going to help it stick. Dehydrate and prime. Now this is a plastic nail. If I dehydrate and prime this nail, it's just going to sit on top of that plastic and not go nowhere. Okay? So I'm going to skip that step. But when we apply this, you want to have 2 cups. 2 cups. The reason we want 2 cups is because we want to have our product in one so that when we pour it, it goes into the cup and then we can just switch cups and go to the next nail and switch cups. Y'all see what I'm saying? Right. Switch cups, switcheroo. All right? So now I've got my products here and my empty cup here. I'm going to take my resin, and this is for base and top. I'm going to take my resin and I'm going to apply a layer of my resin just like polish. And then I'm going to quickly, so it does not dry, pour this onto the nail. And you will notice that the acrylic is, I like to leave a little bit on there so that it can absorb. You see the little wet spot right there? You want to make sure that it's completely covered with acrylic so that it can absorb into the nail. There we go. Come close. Perfect. Now you guys got 2 views. All right. Now, if I was doing this on all 10 fingers, I would tap this off like so. Just tap it off. It doesn't need to all completely come off. Leave it there so it can absorb. Move on to the next finger and do the next one. See, I tap this off. It's still hanging around. Because I'm doing this and demonstrating, it's probably already dry and ready for me to do the next step. But you want to make sure that it is, and when you're doing it before you dust it off, because if you dust it off and it's still wet, you're going to end up getting glue on your brush, which isn't hard to fix. What are we going to do to cure that? We're going to put in some acetone and kind of put in a brush cleaner and brush it off and soak it off just like we would if we got monomer liquid and powder acrylic in our brush, right? So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to dust that off. Y'all see, the reason why I gave y'all pink is so you can see the actual what's going on here. Okay? So you see I've dusted it off, and now I've got a nice little layer of pink acrylic under there. Okay? And it's nice and smooth. You don't want this to be lumpy. If it is, you can file it and shape it, but as you go along, the lump is gonna grow and grow and grow. Okay? So now I've got some more acrylic. Now I've got my acrylic in here. I'm gonna move to the next nail, but in my case, I'm gonna do the second layer. Okay? Now, I'm going in, and I'm going to apply a second coat. Make sure you polish everywhere you want the acrylic to stick. And now I'm going to pour again. This client's finger can be moved and twisted around. That's why you want them, don't want them to be too stiff. Sprinkle it on. Let it sit for a few seconds. Tap it off. See that little wet spot? Let me make sure that I got it. Okay. Tap it off. Move to the next finger. Again, in my case, we're going to continue on. Notice how I'm building this nail up. Dust it off. See how pink that is? Nice and pink. Just like if we were doing, if the client said, I want a pink color. I want you to, and these nail polish, these dip powders match the color of the lacquer on their toes or the gel polish. So you don't have to do gel polish. All right? So now, if I like this, if I said, okay, this is thick enough, I like, look at the thickness of it. It's not too thick. Oh, I left some, I left the foil on this, I was soaking it off and I left it on, so now I gotta soak it again. That's what that is, so don't judge me off. All right, so look at the thickness of it. You see that? It's just thick enough, and you know it's thick enough because the color is there. All right, if you wanted to do a third layer, you could. It'd be a little bulky. You want this to look natural. This is on a natural nail. So now, what I do, I'm gonna put my powder away, and I don't even really need to file this. It's so smooth, I don't even really need to file it. But I can take my buffer and just buff it smooth. Oh, see, we're still wet. I skipped a step. What was this? What I was supposed to do? Spray. I gotta spray to make sure that it's dry, because it wasn't dry all the way. That's why it peeled up. See that? That was my bad. But now if I went to do another layer, as soon as I touch it, it's gonna be dry. The glue is gonna be dry because there's glue dryer spray or accelerator on there. Okay? So now I can go and look. I sprayed that on there. Now I can buff it. Y'all see that? It can be buffed and it did not peel up. Okay? Now, remove the dust. And now if you're using the system, they'll tell you to use your, because this can be used as base or top. And I'm holding this finger. I really need my fulcrum finger so I can get in there, right? I want to, so I don't make my brush get crusty and crunchy, I want to wipe this with cleanser. Why do I want to wipe it with cleanser? Because I got that glue dryer spray on there. I don't want to dry the top of my brush or the tip of my brush, right? So I'm going to wipe away the glue dryer spray. Look how smooth that is, right? So now I'm going to take my top, my base and my top. This is a base and a top. I'm going to put that on the nail. And y'all, I promise you, when this dries without putting anything on it, it will be as shiny as a top coat. Me personally, I'm not a fan of just having the resin as the top coat. I would have done a gel top coat. Charged them a little more for the gel top, right? If you spray this with the activator, it's gonna change. It's not gonna be shiny and pretty. You need to let this air dry.
Do you sell resin accelerator?
The resin accelerator, I do have it, but I don't have it in a spray bottle. I have it in a regular bottle like this. And I don't like a regular bottle. I like to spray it. So what we're using is glue dryer spray, but you can get that at any supply. Okay, glue dryer spray. All right. So that is it, y'all. That didn't take me 2 seconds to show y'all how to do it, right? But now I'm going to show you how you can do it the dip way if you insist upon dipping the clean way. And that's why you guys have, now I'm going to dry this so I don't get glue all over me. When you guys are spraying this, y'all, spray it from a distance. And you'll notice when I sprayed it, look how it's not as shiny anymore. It's not as, see, it got a little, look like it got a little, it's not as shiny. You see it? This is why you want to let it air dry. And who got time to let something air dry? Not me. Give me some glue, some gel top coat and call it a day. But it is shiny. Look how shiny it is, and it's dry. And baby, when I tell you these dip nails they last for a long time. Of course they do.
They don't take long.
No time at all. Did y'all just see what I just did?
I might offer dip. That was quick.
Listen, you guys don't even have to do acrylic anymore. You ain't even got to. You don't have to. It's your choice if you want to do that. You don't have to. This is so quick and easy. And what's the difference when I lay a tip on it and extend it? The only thing about that is when you get ready to change the color, you better have made sure you did a clear layer on that tip so that you can, because you got to file it and can't soak it off. You got to do the whole thing over again. Unless you like soak off the tip, soak off like a Gel-X, kind of do the whole thing over, because now you got to remove just that color, and that means you got to file it off. That's too much work. I'm only offering dip nails to people who are natural nail clients. Me, period.
Can we put your resin accelerator in our own glass spray bottle?
Yes, yes. And I want to get one. I want to get some spray bottles. I'm trying to find some that are small enough. Yes, you can. But you can also use it on the brush. The only thing is you're going to want to clean that brush if it gets glue in, because you're laying that brush on wet glue. Okay, and usually it's not wet because it's been soaking in that, that powder's been soaking in it. You know what I'm saying? You only really need the accelerator at the end. Okay, and at the end you've dusted off all the powder. Hopefully it's dry, but before you file it, you want to use the accelerator to make sure it is completely dry. Okay, so yes, I do have it and I can send it to you. Okay, I just haven't put it on the website. Now, what I'm going to show you as far as color is concerned, I want to use a bright color, one that is much brighter, and I don't remember what I did with those. Oh, I do know what I did. No, I don't know what I did with these right here. They're in this drawer. They're in this drawer. I don't want to knock you down. Can you back up real quick? I want to use a bright color so you guys can see. I'm going to use like this blue right here. Let me use this blue. Okay. So this is that Nitro brand. Okay. Come closer here. If you insist upon using the powder and dipping it, which dipping it is a lot easier. I don't recommend you pouring it in this big old cup. And the reason I don't recommend pouring it in the big cup is because you got to make it deep enough where the client can put their whole finger in. It needs to be deep enough with powder that the whole fingertip can go in. So if you use this one, you got to fill this way up. And then you got to throw this stuff away, remember, so you don't want to fill it up. You want to use a small cup. So these are the smallest cups I can find in the nail industry, right? So I'm going to take what I need. This is a really pretty color. I'm going to take what I need out of here. And I'm using this little sifter right here, this little sucker right here, just to pour it out. Because I don't think I'm that good at pouring it where I'm going to get it in the jar. I think it's going to pour everywhere, okay? It's just a little plastic dropper, okay? And I'm going to give this to somebody to use. Well, we're using it on a plastic hand so it can go back in the container. It ain't a human, all right? Take what you need, and that should be enough for one person. But what if I use it use it enough where it gets down to the very bottom? I got to add more. You see what I'm saying? It's like pouring method is much easier. You're going to use all of it, hopefully all of it, right? So now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to dust it off. Not dust it off. Use my buffer to buff this and make it so it's etched, okay? Remove that extra dust with your cleanser, okay? My first layer, my base layer. I've got my dipping jar here. Move this little finger out of the way, okay? We're going to apply our first layer of powder, of base. Polish it on just like you would any nail polish in all the places that you want the powder to stick, and then you're going to dip into the powder and come out. Now, what I don't like about dipping, and you'll see this happen in my case. See that little, and you guys can probably see it there. See that little where it got to the bottom, or the pressure of it pushed a little notch into the nail, which that's okay. You just gotta file it. But I want it as smooth as possible, so I ain't gotta do no very much filing. But y'all see it, right? And that, you know what that came from? You know, when you're polishing and it gets a little bubble of it at the end, when I pushed it into the powder, it pushed up because it was wetter than the rest of the polish. The glue. All right? So, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. We can still keep going. Just know you're going to have to file a little bit more. So now I want to make sure that it's nice and dry, okay, that it's not got any wet spots, and I can feel that it's nice and dry. I'm going to dust that off. Make sure you get all that dust off because you don't want to contaminate your glue here. So now I'm going to go in for my second coat. And notice it only stuck to where I put the glue. If I would have got the glue all the way back there, we would have, color back there. So it really is user friendly. You can see where you need to go back and do another coat. All right, so now I'm going to go in, add some more of my resin. Okay, make sure you fill in all the little spots that you missed, if you missed any. Got to work fast. Now I'm going in. See, now I done absorbed more. I want to go back in because it's looking a little wet to me. I want it to absorb as much as I possibly can. Tap it off. Make sure it's nice and dry. Dust it off. Look at that. It's like it's polished. Okay. Now this is on a plastic hand, y'all. It's on a plastic hand. If I wanted to do another coat, I could. But I'm going to dry before I start filing on it. I'm going to put my accelerator on the nail. Okay. so that I can buff this nail and file this nail. And you can also take your hand file. What if you need to shape the tips because the tips got a little thick, right? You just add product to it. Take your file and shape that nail, round it out. Go ahead and do all of that shaping and filing, y'all. I'm trying to make sure I stay in the frame here. She don't have no free edge at all. Oops. I flew out the way. You got really short nails. Free edge, shape it up. You got any on the skin, get it off. And then I'm just gonna go in there and buff it. And that little mess up in the beginning didn't even really affect the finish of the nail. Y'all see that? Easy. Easy. Now you can use an E-file to clean up around the sides and all that stuff because there's a product on top of the nail, just like you would an acrylic nail, right? So, very, very easy. I want to cleanse it before I put my glue dryer spray on there, and that's what the color looks like. It's very smooth and even. You don't want it to be patchy, right? You want it to be nice, smooth, and even. And you're going to apply, again, your top. Make sure you wipe that glue dryer spray off of the nail. And you're going to let that dry, air dry. I had a little fuzzy in there. I saw it. Get that fuzzy out. Let it air dry. And look how shiny it's going to look. Once you let it air dry without putting glue dryer spray on there, it'd be nice and shiny, just like a top coat. Now, what you don't want to do is wear dip nails when you're a nail tech and using acetone all day. What's going to happen? It's going to melt all the way off. Okay? How easy was that? Very, very easy. Okay? And for those clients that don't want gel or they're allergic to gel or they're sensitive to gel, you can use this on there instead, right? Because usually what clients are sensitive to is the monomer. That gets all over the skin so much easier than the powder does, okay? You can do the actual, this finger looks so gross. What y'all think? Think y'all can do that? So easy, all right? Now, if I wanted to add a tip to it, let's just say this client's nail was this long. Their natural nail, because you can really grow some really pretty natural nails with dip acrylic, with a dip system, okay? We can do the same thing. I went ahead and I've etched that nail, right? This one got some length on it. Gotta work fast because you don't want that resin to dry before you get it in the powder, okay? So now I'm gonna put it in and I'm kind of pressing it forward. See how easy? I like that view. Side view. See that? Go back in so that it's nice and absorbed. So easy. So easy. Just remember, don't put your accelerator on there until you are ready to start filing. Okay? Dust it off. Get as much of the dust off as you can so you don't get it in your brush. And lay another coat. Y'all got any questions while I'm doing this? So by the time you have done 10 nails, hopefully you've used all this powder. But again, this is still wasteful to me because you got to add more to it as you get lower and lower and lower. You see what I'm saying? And you're going to have at least this much powder in there at the end of the day to get the whole finger in there. So I prefer to pour. What about y'all? What do you think? Pour. And plus, look how I've gotten a dent in it every time because I've had to push it. I think pouring is so much easier. So that's no different than putting polish on the nail. We'll do another coat so you guys can see. See how smooth it's laid on there, so you don't have to really worry about. It's not like acrylic nails. You gotta lay it a certain way. You gotta lay it fast. You gotta, you know what I mean? You got time. You got a little bit more. It's just so easy. It's just so easy. Okay, and it's a great product for certain clients, but not every client is gonna want dip nails. Okay, but these are the clients right here. They gonna pay you. They paying. They gonna tip, especially if you're really good at laying it. So now I'm gonna take my glue dryer spray, spray it on there so that it's nice and dry. I know that it's dry so that when I get ready to file it, I don't have to worry about it filing off. Shaped it, nice and shaped. Make sure I spray it one more time. Okay, and then if you need to, I don't even want to file it with my file because I feel like I'm gonna file it off too much. Buff it. Look how nice. Nice. Easy. Anybody can do it. Anybody. That's why I like special. Right? But this is the same. So when we do this in nail art, when you're doing what we call sugar techniques, sugaring, that's when you have that 3D powdery look on the nail. What do you think you're gonna do?
So dip is basically acrylic just finer.
That's all it is. It's acrylic, a fine milled acrylic laid on top of glue.
Was that a natural nail or a tip?
I had put a tip on here and laid acrylic on top of it, and then I just used the dip powder as my polish color. Okay, to signify a longer nail, to show you guys doing it on a longer nail. Okay, you can absolutely lay a tip on a client. You guys haven't gotten to tips. We're going to get to that tomorrow. Okay, so you guys can absolutely lay a tip and then dip away. Pour away. I prefer, because then again, see, remember, if you was pouring this, you would get down to the very last drop of it before you could throw it away. Before you needed to throw it away. Okay? What y'all think?
It's a nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully everybody in the Zoom can do this too. Y'all get ready to do this today? Easy. Try to knock them out. You get 5 fingers, that counts as a set. All right? Now, taking this off, you guys do not have to completely remove every bit of these nails to do another set and another set and another set. What I recommend is that you do a set or do the dip on all 5. Come show me, let me see how it looks. And then the next time you do it, put the color on top. Pick a color over here, and you're going to put the color on top. I want to see it with the color on top. Then you can file that off if you want to and do it again, so that you ain't got to keep popping these nails off and keep soaking them and keep popping them and soaking them. And ain't nobody got time for that.
They said they need your resin now. They want to try your method.
Okay, well, I got the resin for sure on the website for sale.
We flew over our Milady dip section.
What? That's terrible. You guys, I feel like students need to know at least the dip for when you get out of here, you can make some money. Because everybody wants dip. And this product is not expensive, and you can get, like I said, all 3 usually if you go to the right place, to a supply store. Okay? So that, my dears, is how you're going to do it. And this resin is definitely available for sale, and I highly recommend my resin because
I got you.
Because you can use it for more than just dip. You guys can use this to adhere. Y'all see my stones? I put these on Saturday now. There ain't a caviar bead nor a stone missing. not a 1. And we ain't talking about no 1 stone, no 2 stones. We're talking about some big, massive, humongous stones here. So when you're doing this, laying your stones down, you can use your resin to lay your stones as well. At least my resin. I don't know about anybody else's. There's certain viscosities that work better. Those thinner ones, they dry too quick. Mine is a medium viscosity, so it can be used for everything. Base, top, stones, all of that. Okay? Perfect Match, I like them. Someone asked about Perfect Match. Perfect Match, I love them. That's the Lachette brand. Y'all got any questions, my girls? Y'all are good? Anybody want, so if y'all want to pick a color up here, pick a color, pick a color, pick your color for your color dip. Now just remember, I don't mind y'all dipping it, if you're using your plastic hands, dipping it directly in the powder, okay? That way you ain't got to pour it out and do all that stuff and put it in this little cup, okay? Because I'm going to put this to, you guys have any questions on the Zoom, I'm here to answer. Let me pour this